I actually grew up in South Central Los Angeles during the Watts riots. It's when they had riots in the street. My parents were illegal immigrants from China, so we were quite poor. Because of that, and living in that neighborhood, I was actually bullied a lot because I was different and really small. But what I learned was that I have to decide really quickly to judge whether I should stay to fight or to flee for my life. I actually believe that people who survive seemingly insurmountable challenges when they're really young are changed in a fundamental way. It actually hones their decision-making judgment and they become extremely adaptable. For me, it's actually giving me a fearlessness. So I'm not afraid of failure, because what's that compared to being beaten up all the time? What I've done is I've actually, seek out new challenges all the time, mainly in turnarounds and startups. I was in this industry for 8 years and I ran 14 countries, but there were 4 problems that's the same no matter what country you're in, India or China or Singapore or Japan. And these are the fourfold. Companies' insurance benefits are rising exponentially fast, much faster than compensation. Compensation you can control, but health benefits just go up, much faster than inflation also. Yet, employees don't understand insurance and actually didn't appreciate it. And at the same time, every employee's health is getting worse. It's not getting any better. You're spending all this money, but because healthcare and insurance are so paper intensive and there's so many different vendors in the supply chain, HR has way too much work. So how can I solve for these 4 issues? The technology we deploy actually solves for all 4 of these unmet needs. I actually had to fork money out of my own pocket instead of going to the investors that were lined up. So we forked out $5 million. $5 million is a huge amount of money, especially for us. So what that meant for us was that we had to figure out how to pay the rent. I called my daughter in Boston who just started college and told her, you have to get a job because how are we going to afford your tuition? And then I asked my husband to go back to work. So it really is, it's hand to mouth, but we had so much conviction in this. My greatest achievement actually is my daughter. When she was really young, we discovered she had epilepsy and a learning disorder. And at the time I discovered it, I was actually in Kuala Lumpur during weekdays building the .com startups and only spending weekends at home. So I returned and left the startup world then, back in 2001. But she has to work so much harder to catch up, but she did, and now she's in college in the US. And now that both my kids are teenagers, I'm returning to the startup world. So I usually reserve my days for my team or outside meetings. Internal meetings, we work a lot on the platform. The UI UX matters enormously, so we think a lot about the product features. I would say for entrepreneurs, you can't do it alone. There's huge amounts of talent in Asia. So to be an entrepreneur, you have to have the leadership skills. But not only that, you have to have the skills and the resilience to actually keep inspiring your team despite the emotional roller coaster. They have to be able to bounce back from any kind of setback. So my belief is that this is the location that will deploy pan-regional solutions to all the rest of Asia. And I definitely want to be part of that power shift because I do believe that innovations built here in Asia will leapfrog the West. What actually drives me is working around really smart people to build something that transforms and disrupts an industry. So, or in turnarounds, it's taking something that's not working and energizing it and making people believe that together we can change the world.